Now guys, you know we film a lot of OSDM, a lot of V8s, rare models, but the car behind me is something a little bit different because this is a 1995 VS Acclaim. And although it might not be a V8, it's got the 3.8 V6 up front. This thing has done 26,000 Ks and is in absolute mint condition. So this is a true barn find today that we're gonna take out, review, launch, and really go back in time to 1995. So let's hop in this thing, go for a cruise. All right, guys, welcome to the 1995 VS Commodore. And what can I say? 26,000 kilometers on this thing. A one-owner car. They bought it off an old gentleman who literally just drove this thing to church and the shops, like not even once a week. This is this is actually incredible to find. Now, of course, this one is just a V6, but regardless of that fact, you got to appreciate this thing. The condition is absolutely incredible, and you know, the 3.8, you're never late, so you still got to love these Ecotechs. I tell you what, they the Mang Mang was a great engine. It was based off a Buick, I believe, and 200 horsepower, so we're talking like 153 kilowatts, 304 Newton meters. Rear wheel drive, got the 4-speed, and this is just like driving a time capsule. It really is. And I gotta say, man, it's just quiet. It's just actually quite refined. And the way this thing turns and steers and just soaks up the road, yeah, the new cars don't feel like this, let me tell you. Now, this thing launched back in 1995, and it went all the way up until 1997. Then, of course, we had the VT come out. Now, 1995, I was a wee little 5-year-old running around in Canada, and dude, this just feels like it's a trip. You know what I mean? Like, to think this thing is legitimately 30 years old, and in this condition. Wow, like the aircon is on, it's icy cold, everything works in here, it's not being touched, it's not being molested. You know, this thing hasn't been taken to the industrial park on a Saturday night and skidded like every other Ecotech has. You know, this is a true rare beast that you don't see. Now the VS as well, it came out, it had the IRS, so you had the independent rear suspension in the back, it had the standard ABS, and the Acclaim got the passenger side airbag. I believe it was the Acclaim. Not sure if the executives got that. Almost all of them have the glue peel back and they lift off. This one actually looks pretty good. You know, you can tell this thing's been in the garage. So I can't really tell if that it's got a little bit of a lift on it on the right side, but dude, it's in fantastic condition. And yeah, just the wind-up windows. I love this. You know, I haven't been in a vehicle with wind-up windows. I can't remember the last time. So it's always a trip when you see that. It's just beautiful. You know, this thing had the trip computer. You had the speed alert up here. It's got the tape deck here. You know, the standard factory radio. It is honestly, it's like something you could find in a museum, this thing, you know, 27,000 Ks, not even 26,000 Ks, sorry. Beautiful condition. You look at the engine bay, and just tell me you can find a cleaner one, because I don't think you will. These things never got the love that they probably deserved, and to find one on the road now, just in whatever kind of condition, is actually getting quite rare. So you just don't see these things anymore, unfortunately. This is a true barn find. And I don't care if it's not a V8. I don't care if it's not the Club Sport. The Acclaim still has to get some love. And, you know, look, you just push this 3.8 a little bit. Man, it'll still pull you up to 100 pretty briskly. You know, back in the day, 30 years ago, 200 horsepower, that was a reasonable amount of ponies. You know what I mean? 304 Newton meters, this was a decent setup. And the Ecotec, it's proven itself over time. You know, it's a reliable, solid engine. I just love the old time character and charm of this thing. You know, just from the steering wheel, there's no buttons, there's no doodads, there's no nothing. You know, it's just, you drove the car, put it in drive, use it, wind your own windows, you know, you got an air conditioning switch, basic radio. It's just what you need. You know what I mean? There's nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy about it, which it just works. It's not going to break. This thing can last 30 years and still be cruising. You know what I mean? It's really a testament to what Holden was doing back in the day with the build quality. And make no mistake, guys, I've seen countless 3.8 V6s doing like 300, 400,000 kilometers, no worries. So, you know, they really were reliable, well-built vehicles. I just love how you cruise in this thing. You know, you really do float over the open road, and the steering has a very unique sort of weight to it, and the way it just turns, it's hard to explain. Very alien compared to a modern car, but I like it. You know, you have a lot of feel through it. The car does blob around and it does shake and roll, but it does it in a pleasant way. Guys, if you've been enjoying this content, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Again, this is how we travel around Australia, find these gems to show off for you at home. Again, if you got a cool car, send us a message too. You never know. I am always traveling around Australia looking for other vehicles to film. If you enjoy this content, thumbs up, subscribe, send us a message. And look, guys, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't really know a whole lot about the VS, about the Acclaim in particular. You know, if we're talking GDS and Club Sport and some of the HSVs, you know, I know these things. You know, I've reviewed a couple of them. If you want to see some videos like that, click the pop-up banner here. But when the owner told me it's got 26,000 Ks, it's like an absolute one-of-one barn find. You know, I appreciate these things. I totally appreciate it. And I believe even down to the hubcaps, I think were like unique to this model. It's got them, and it's just totally original. This thing has just been, this is how they bought it. They garaged it. They barely drove it. They never changed it. Definition of clean right here. Yeah, she's a boat. She's a Commodore, but she's got that charm. You know what I mean? You sit in here, you feel like you have gone back in time, and it feels good. Trust me. 2025 Clown World, guys. You step back in time, back into the mid-90s. That was a beautiful place in history. You know, we had so much going on back then, and especially in Australia with Holden, with Ford, producing, manufacturing, mining. There was none of this 2025 Clown World stuff anymore. You know, it was a great time to be Aussie, a great time for Australia back then. And I gotta say, you sit in these vehicles they were producing, you can feel that economy. You know, you can feel that sense of pride. You gotta love a 90s car too, when they've just got the cigarette lighter right here for you. You know, you've also got your little ashtray right under it and wind up windows. You know what I'm talking about, guys. Like, this was just, it was back in the days of when men were men. You know, it wasn't in none of this I can modify my gender but I can't modify my car days of 2025. This was from a different era, and I'm all for it. You know, take us back to the mid-90s, the early 2000s. Beautiful time in history. Now we got to do the WiperTech wiper test, and I'm curious to see how this is gonna go. So we're gonna pull back on the stock and see what this thing does. So, yay! It's still got that sort of very weak spray, but it does the job. You know, look, I don't know how old these wipers are. The driver's side is unfortunately quite streaky. You can see some streaks there too, but guys, it's 30 years old. You want the best wipers in the game. We're sponsored by WiperTech. They're an Aussie company and they do great wipers. So you want to support the channel, use the code down below. It's ROSS15 off. You'll get free express shipping and you'll also get 15% off your order. So huge thanks to WiperTech. Let's launch this thing. All right, reset the draggy. Here we go, guys. Come on, baby. Oh man, she gets floaty, but I love it. I absolutely love it. What did we do there? Guys, we just did a 10-second 0 to 100. So it's slow, as we expected, but you still gotta love this thing. Absolutely. But guys, we're gonna finish the video off here. What do we think? The Mint VS, you know, again, 1995, 30 years old, 26,000 kilometers. Truly a piece of Aussie history. And yeah, what memories can you share in the comments below, guys? I wanna hear them. If you enjoyed the video, again, subscribe, like the video. We'll see you on the next one.